Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Cab Fit. So, by popular demand, today we're going to get right into how to make my famous 2 net carb Nanaimo bars. Steps will follow. I'm going to post the entire ingredient list and process down in the comments. It's going to be the first pinned comment, so check that out because there's not enough space with the formatting to list every single ingredient and its specific quantity. So check out the pinned comment for that, and I will see you at the end of the video. We're going to make custard. So in this case, we're going to take our custard mix, which is basically sugar and egg yolks, or in this case, SWERVE, all right, which is our sugar substitute and egg yolks, a pinch of salt, some vanilla, and a little bit of butter later on, just like a teaspoon of butter. What we're going to do here, though, is we're going to boil heavy cream. So this is your whipping cream, 35% or higher. I guess you could do a 50 if you really wanted to. 35% cream, get it to a boil. Just sort of a simmering boil, not a violent boil. And then we're going to mix about half of the boiled cream into the egg mixture. This is called tempering, all right? You don't mix more than half. It is literally just half, and you got to whisk pretty quick. If you add too much, or if you add it too quickly, you're going to cook the eggs and you're going to have scrambled eggs, which nobody really wants. So you just do about half. There we go. Got to do it fast too. All right, I don't see any chunks. We're good so far. A little bit more. There we go. That's pretty good. And if you're doing it right, it should be a nice glossy kind of orange, all right? There we go. Okay, that's pretty good. I'm gonna add a tiny bit more to temper it. There we go, that's about half. And then once that's done, you're gonna take the tempered mixture and you're gonna add the tempered mixture back into the cream on the element on a very, very low heat. So I've got this on about, what is it, a 3 or a 4? All right, and we're gonna keep whisking furiously. So hopefully all those exercise videos of mine you've been watching have given you strong wrists, because you need them for this. Whisk, whisk, whisk. Now this process, once it's all mingled together, takes a while, all right? So depending on your element, it can take anywhere from 2 to 10 minutes to make custard. We know it's done when it's thick and glossy, all right? And then as soon as it's done, we put it back into the bowl and set it aside to cool. So I'm going to stop this clip there, and I'll get back to you guys when it's time to take a look at the custard. All right, so when it's done, take it off the element, put a teaspoon of butter in there, and just let it sort of melt. And you're gonna have to let this cool almost completely before we add the cream cheese and the other elements of the Nanaimo bar filling. Okay, so the next major step, step 2, I suppose, we're going to make our crust now that our custard is made. So we got a cup of melted butter. I should clarify, you can use ghee as well too, clarify butter's fine, but it's got to be unsalted. All right, you should never use obviously salted butter for baking, but just for the sake of clarity, let's mention that. So we've got a cup of butter. We're gonna put that in there, all right? And in our bowl we have coconut flour and coconut. I prefer to do this with coconut because it's a lot less wasteful and just a lot more nutritious than almond flour. And then to add, again, to taste, and as you get used to cooking ketogenically, you realize that coconut especially soaks up a tremendous amount of liquid, so you have to add a bit of extra fat. So you can use either olive oil, believe it or not, which even though it's very savory, you don't notice it amidst all of the chocolate and sweet. You can actually pretty much bake with that with coconut because the coconut will overpower it. Or you can use something like avocado oil, doesn't matter. So we got another about half to 3/4 of a cup there, all right? Start with half a cup just to see if you're okay with that, and then add a bit more if you find that it still is a bit dry at the base. So we're gonna add that to our shredded coconut and coconut flour. We're gonna add another half a cup of SWERVE. We're gonna add our cocoa powder to taste. I personally like about 3 heaping teaspoons, and this is just pure cocoa. That's all it is. This is the Dutch version, so it's got sodium bicarbonate, or sodium bicarbonate, which is just salt. Totally fine for you, no calories still. This one's Fry's, this one I'm using, because that's what Walmart had. And then we're going to add 2 eggs as well too, 2 whisked eggs. Just pour that on in there. There we go. And then finally, we're going to add, this is my secret ingredient, natural peanut butter, all right? So there's a bunch of these. This is the stuff that you wouldn't necessarily, if you've been raised on the craft stuff, you probably won't like it very much, but it's fantastic for baking as a binding agent. So it's very, very sort of gooey and viscous, and it's really just crushed peanuts. You want about 1 to 2 tablespoons of that. It will bind things together really, really well. And again, it's more fat for the coconut to soak up, all right? So once we've got all that crap in the bowl, we're gonna mix it up. All right, so when you're done all your hard work, I actually had an assistant come in and do all of the manual labor for me, so thank you, assistant. Yes, so when you're done, you get this. It's like a sort of like a macaroon looking mix, all right? And then we're gonna take that, we're gonna lay it into a baking pan. I like to use a little bit of parchment paper just to make sure nothing sticks. Parchment paper lined baking pan, and I'll show you that in a second. And then we're gonna work on our custard filling. All right, we're almost at the end here. So we're gonna take our custard mix, which we prepared earlier, and we're gonna add that to 1 entire brick of cream cheese, about 6 tablespoons of SWERVE, and a cup of butter, all right? Just pour that all in there, mix it, and I'll show you what that looks like in a sec. All right, and finally, so there it is, light and fluffy. Looks a bit like whipped cream cheese almost. I ended up using a hand blender at the end. So you're gonna take this, you're gonna pour it on top of our pressed down base. That's the base that we made in the last step, or second to last step. And just pour it on there, smooth it down, pop it in the fridge. Now this is very important. It has to chill for at least 1 to 2 hours until it's relatively firm before you put any kind of chocolate on it. Otherwise the chocolate's just gonna melt into it and ruin it. So yeah, so that's the big thing. We'll show you the last step in a bit. Get all that delicious stuff onto that macaroon style base. Pop it in the fridge for an hour, and I'll see you back soon. Okay, last but not least, we're gonna make our chocolate. So if you look at the setup I've got going on here, I've got a pot with boiling water, and I place a saucepan or my, whatever I'm using to make the chocolate on top of it. I've got a box, half a box of Camino in there, so about 6 ounces of chocolate and some butter, all right? So anywhere from a 1/4 cup to half a cup if you want to make it really, really rich of butter, and just melt it all down until it's done. And when it's done, remove it from the element and let it cool, and then we're going to put it on our Nanaimo bars to finish them off. All right, so the last step, you're going to take your chocolate. I've got my chilled, it's been about 2 hours I've been chilling that, chilled Nanaimo bars. That's the custard on top, which is quite solid. You want to pour this very, very quickly, and then just sort of shift it back and forth till it sets. Ready? All right, here we go. Just get it out there quick, because it is chocolate and it will harden and set. And once it's all on there, I like to give it just sort of a shimmy. Pour it back and forth, pour it down, pour it into all the nooks and crannies. There we go. Make sure you cover all of the white stuff, and then pop it back in the fridge. And when you take it out, it will be glossy and beautiful and ready for consumption. There we go. I think I got all the spots there. There we go. All right. Put the lid on, pop it back in the fridge. I'll see you in about an hour. All right, so there we go. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share for future videos. And check out some of my other workout videos and my other cooking videos. They're a little bit more rudimentary than this. I've come a long way if you follow my journey in terms of health and fitness and how to cook, especially really, really healthy and still delicious treats. So check out some of my earlier videos though. I got some brownie ones and stuff. And thank you for stopping by today. Be kind to each other, and we'll talk again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.